Executive Suite with WPRI.com reporter Ted Nesi.
It's one of business's perennial complaints about Providence City Hall. Getting a permit is a time-consuming and convoluted process. Now Mayor Angel Taveras has come up with a solution, ProvSmart, an online system that's supposed to streamline things. This week on Executive Suite, bringing City Hall into the 21st century. Plus, with Christmas just around the corner, it's a busy time of year for Tally's Church Supply in Cranston. The family-owned shop has been selling all kinds of religious products from Lenten palms to clergy clothing since the 1870s. On the second half of Executive Suite, a Yuletide chat with the fifth-generation proprietors of Tally's. Welcome to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nesi. As I said there, we'll talk to the sixth generation actually, manager of Tally's Church Furnishings. But right now, pleased to be joined by Jeff Lykins. He's the director of the Providence Department of Inspections and Standards, and John Sinnott, Rhode Island District Manager of Gilbane Building Company. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
So we're talking about permitting. Obviously, that's a sexy topic, drives up the ratings on a television program, but it's clearly important. Mayor Taveras, I was there, Jeff, early this year when he announced his economic development plan for the city. His immediate action item, number 2, was, quote, fix the permitting process. Why was it such a top priority for the Taveras administration?
Well, permitting, of course, is very important for economic development. I mean, if you can't get a permit, you can't build, can't get no businesses going. So it was very important, and our number 1 priority in my department. So immediately we started looking at the things we could do, to facilitate permitting and make it easier and streamline it. ProvSmart, our online system, was one of the big items. We had some other items as well we were working on, co-locating with the fire department, getting expedited reviewers. We also hired an inspection coordinator, someone to help after the permit, to get the permit and still keep it going smooth. And one of the last things we're working on is getting our use cards database so we can get those online for our constituents as well.
So you have a lot of stuff going on here.
We do.
Before we dive into the details, when we say permits, for someone who maybe doesn't own a business but is watching at home, what are we actually talking about? A permit for what? What kind of permits?
Right. So in the city, as in most towns and cities, you need a permit to build most anything. So in our department, we issue permits for building, electrical, structural, mechanical, plumbing. So anything pretty much in a building that you're going to do is going to require permitting. But the only thing that doesn't is painting and hanging cabinets and the interior finishes. But
so they need to get the approval from you guys to move that forward, which makes sense, John, because Gilbane might care about that kind of process. So I assume you wouldn't have beta tested this, which is how you guys got involved, if you didn't care about making this happen. Why was this important to Gilbane?
Because time is money. It's a great economic development tool. You said at the beginning of the show, one of the complaints has been the response time, I'll say, the turnaround time to get a permit in the city of Providence. Jeff, with Mayor Taveras, have turned that around. Now, instead of waiting up to 18 months, we're talking about getting this stuff done online, be able to interact and check on the status of your permit. And with the co-location of getting everybody in one house, just cuts down the whole time, the whole review time, and you actually have faces that you can sit down and talk with. So it spits out the permit a lot easier and a lot faster. You said
there sometimes 18 months. It sounds like it was a little bit of a black hole too on your side. You put in the application, but then until you heard back, you didn't know where things stood or when you'd hear.
That's correct. Usually, a lot of times, the builder, I'm going to speak on the builder side, we're responsible to get the permit for the client. And some of these clients don't believe you when you say, I've tried, and it got a bit tedious. And fortunately, they've changed that. They've added some new things to it, and I think you're going to see a huge change rather quickly.
All right, let's start with ProvSmart. This is the thing that caught my eye and had me have you guys come on. Jeff, let's just walk through the basics. What is ProvSmart? Who can use it? How do you use it? And why are you excited about its launch?
Basically anybody can use it that needs to get a building permit, from something as small as re-roofing your house, new windows, up to multi-million-dollar skyscraper, if we have any of those. It's just ProvSmart.com. You go online. That'll bring you to one of the pages on the city website that gives you a little bit of instruction. From there, you can, if you haven't used it before, you can register. You can register the old-fashioned way, just typing in all your information, or if you already use like Facebook or LinkedIn or Google, you can utilize one of those to make it quicker. But you register, get your password and all, and then then you log in, and basically you get a dashboard. And it's really easy. There's just 4 really big buttons, so it's easy to see. Building, plumbing, mechanical, electrical. You choose the permit you want, and that brings up the application, and you fill out the application, and then submit it. Once it's submitted, we get alerted. We look at it for completeness and things like this. And if it's a simple one like the roof, we just approve it probably same day, and you can pay for it online and print your permit out and go to work.
So, John, everybody a little nervous maybe right now when they hear about new government websites launching after what happened with the National Healthcare site.
Exactly.
And I'm not at all casting aspersions on Jeff and his team with that. But as someone who beta tested it, does it work? And are you legitimately
It works a
excited
lot
about it?
better than the other one worked.
That may be small praise, though.
But no, it worked. One of the things, the only glitch was your Internet Explorer. Believe it or not, we only had up to 8, version 8. You really need at least a 9. And once we made that change, Jeff's right. It's a dashboard. It's easy to use. You can track where it's going. You can pay by a credit card. All those little things just cut down the time. And again, time, it goes back to time is money.
Sounds kind of 21st century.
Almost, yes. Yes.
And really, you should switch to Chrome. That's part of your problem. You can't blame Jeff for that.
It won't work on Chrome.
Yeah, there you go, Jeff. What if the developers have more than one project? Are they going to have a different login each? Do you log in as I'm the Superman building, and we're filing a development? Do I have a Superman building login, or do I log in as Gilbane, and here's all our projects?
Right. So basically, you get a dashboard, and the more projects you do, you'll start having a list of your projects. And so at any time, you can check things, or say you need a receipt, you can go back to an old project. Print the receipt again. If you need another copy of the permit, print the permit. So you get a dashboard and you have this history that you'll be building up. And on there also, that's where you can make your requests. So say you've gotten the permit and now you want an inspection. If that line item has been approved for a permit, then now there'll be a button there for inspections, and you can click and make your inspection.
And I can see that why it's good on their side. Is it more efficient on your side inside the city to be going through these to have it this way, or is this really all for the builders?
Well, we envisioned it to make it easier, for the constituents, but it does actually help us a little bit because.
How so?
Well, they're filling out the forms instead of us filling out the forms.
That's always nice.
So that saves us some work. Yeah. And then also with if you have a bigger project, say there's drawings, you need to have drawings reviewed. It also allows you to electronically upload your drawings. And as you were kind of describing before, the black hole. So when we were in our paper process, the more typical paper review was that your drawings went in and you didn't hear anything till the end. Then you got possibly you might get a big list of issues that we had, for code for that building, and it's kind of like you start over. With this process, as the reviewers are finding issues, whoever's in charge, the architect, whoever, they'll get emails as it happens. So they can start to work right away on fixing something that maybe doesn't meet code while we're still looking at other aspects of it. So by making it interactive, not only are you better informed all along the way, but it'll extremely cut down the time as well.
And do you think that'll be a real benefit?
Absolutely. You're getting real-time status of where your drawings are. You can drop down and see where they are in the process. You can drop down and see where the problems are. All of those things are extremely beneficial. It's not like you send it off, it's like putting the cake in the oven. You don't know if you put the right ingredients in it until you pull it out. This is, you're sort of checking on it from time to time, and you can track it. And even that, if you think about having to wait till they're completely done reviewing, made all their comments, versus you're there while they're making the comments. I mean, not physically in their office, but online, checking daily to see where you are.
And Jeff, I know ProvSmart, the website, it's what catches our attention, but I can hear in your answers that there's other efficiencies and changes you're making to how the work is done. Another one, tell me about the changes you're making for smaller projects, because I was told, the mayor spokesman told me that actually the majority of permits requests are for relatively small projects, not the big fancy things we associate with Gilbane, actually. So what are you doing on that?
Right. So the mayor gave us the budget to hire 2 new people, and they are expedite plan reviewers. We had another person of that caliber on staff, and so we have a total of 3 now of expedite plan reviewers, and that's a totally new position that didn't exist. So, and those people are going to be handling the projects that are typically like $100,000 or less in construction value. Before we had that new staff, everything went to our senior plan reviewers, and so you have a little project, you might get stuck behind a multi-million-dollar project, and who knows when they get to it, or the senior reviewer might have to stop what he's doing, and shuffle back and forth. So it just wasn't the most efficient.
So not to keep using it, but instead of having the Superman, someone's apartment upgrade behind the Superman building, which might take a while,
exactly.
They go in two different buckets?
Exactly, yeah.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a win-win. I mean, the bigger projects will get undivided attention now, and the smaller projects will just go through. I think the majority of them will go through in a week or less.
Wow. And tell me also what you did with the fire safety inspectors.
Yeah, so we're going to co-locate all the reviewers for the fire department. They have a kind of a parallel process as we do. We both look at the drawings. They're looking at it for fire code. We're looking at it for building code. We were housed in different locations. Furniture's on order as we speak, and they should be coming over really soon. And now I think it'll be a real benefit to the design professional, the developer. You come in and see all of us at once instead of going to one building and the other building. And what if you find out you've reviewed this building and you've made changes, now you go to find out fire and those changes screwed up something for the fire code. So now you get all the whole story in one shot. So I think there's a lot of time savings there, and get everybody on the same page. And I just think it'll all be smoother on both sides.
And are you getting applications? Are people actually using it yet beyond the beta testers?
Yes, hasn't been a lot yet, but we have had a few come in, and people have actually paid for them with credit cards, and that's went through. So that's good.
That's good.
We didn't overcharge anybody yet.
That's good. Yeah, you have some angry customers.
Yeah.
John, a question a little off topic. What's the outlook? You're thinking, what are you feeling in your industry after this year in terms of building momentum and around, and what are you thinking about 2014 at this point?
The truth? No. We see a lot of positive upticks, but I do want to go back to one thing after I answer that. We do see things happening, there's things happening down in the Jewelry District. There's some other projects that the state is planning on doing. So when those bigger projects happen, a lot of other things will follow in behind. Of course, there's always more work at Brown and Providence College and RISD starting to work on their plan. So we're seeing a little bit more movement. It's still going to be the next couple of months. It's going to be tough. I would say probably we're looking more towards the mid-second quarter next year. But I do want to go back to one thing which it was very unique about this whole process. It was really a public-private partnership. Yes, it's great that they co-located as probably one of the biggest steps, more so than the electronic part of it. But what's really been very, I think, beneficial, Jeff, has been, we've been working together on this. But Brown also came down off the hill, so and helped with some of the space planning. So you're seeing more and more of this public-private collaboration, which I think, if we're going to go forward in 2014, for instance, you're seeing the School of Nursing, which is Rick and URI and Brown all working together. It's going to take everybody to put their resources together to help, and with Jeff's leadership in this one, I think it's going to be very successful.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for this. It's ProvSmart.com, right?
That's right.
ProvSmart.com. Jeff, John, thank you both for being here, and I hope you both have happy holidays. When we come back, we're going to talk with Tally's Church Supplies about their more than 100 years in Rhode Island. Stick with us on Executive Suite. Welcome back to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nisi, and I'm now joined by PJ Tally from Tally's Church Supply. And I said at the top, Tally's Church Supply been in your family for 5 generations, but you are actually now the 6th generation to manage it, and the 5th generation still owns it. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
It's quite a story. How did your family get into this business? It's Christmas time, people going to church. Someone has to supply the crosses and the vestments and the sacramental wine. How did your family get into this business?
Well, my 3 great-great-great-grandfather came over in the 1850s from Ireland at the end of the Irish potato famine, and he was running an immigration agency for transport of the Irish over to Providence.
Help them get here, yeah.
Right. And they needed some place to get their rosary beads and prayer books, so he continued to run the travel agency, but also opened up a Catholic bookstore. And then within 20 years or so, he was distributing palm to the churches, candles, and other things that the churches needed, not just the retail side of it for the people, mostly the Catholic people.
Yeah.
And by the 1930s, my grandfather took over at a very young age. 1938, he took over running the business, and he was a unique man. He attended daily mass at the cathedral in downtown Providence. He left every day at noontime. He enjoyed his cigars, and he ran a very successful business. Two of his sons took over the business in the 1970s.
Okay.
And at that time, we get into the catalog end of the business, printed a catalog for the first time in 1976, and that went pretty well for us. And now I'm the next generation running the business.
And one of the interesting things is some people might remember Tally's was actually way back. Now we're going to the early 1960s when you moved on Broadway. Sure. And I think it was I-95 made you move, right?
Yes. Well, it was actually that whole Cathedral Square redevelopment down around the cathedral. We moved up to Broadway in 1962. And then we outgrew that location by around 2000. About 2005, we found a place down in Cranston. We moved to Pontiac Avenue in Cranston.
So we have some footage, I think, of the kind of items you sell at Tally's. But walk me through what sort of breadth of things do you sell to folks, both in person at Tally's and through the mail order and online?
Well, it's almost like running two separate businesses. We have a retail business where people buy their Bibles. They can buy nativity sets, prayer books, rosary beads, items for First Communion gifts. Then we also have the church side of the business. And the churches buy their candles, altar bread, altar wine, vestments, all the clerical attire. And especially statues is a big thing with us, wood carvings, marble statues, that type of thing.
Now, how, it is a business. How competitive is this business, is this sector? Are there other people in this space? Is it hard fought to get different churches aligned with you?
Well, many years ago, back in like the 1950s and 60s, there were like 4 or 5 different businesses right in Providence.
Wow.
That sold rosary beads, prayer books, medals and chains, patron saints. Most of them have closed now. But we compete quite a bit with internet-type website businesses. There's some people that don't even have a brick and mortar anymore. They just operate a website. So,
and on the other side of it, I assume the internet has added to your business because you can reach much further.
We've expanded, right, with the internet. There's one thing we sell, especially at this time of year, we sell for candlelight service sets. We sell them all over the country. We get orders from San Jose, California, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, some of these big mega churches. They buy them from us. They find us on the internet, and they buy the cups and the holders with the candles.
Yep, we all held them. We can picture the choir boys and the kids.
Right.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Tally's Church Supplies, its long history in Rhode Island, and the business of supplying what a church needs, especially at this time of year at Christmas. Stick with us on Executive Suite. Welcome back to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nisi, and we're joined this Christmas week by PJ Talley. I keep going to say Tom and PJ. Tom wasn't able to join us, which is why I keep stumbling a little bit. But PJ Talley, good enough to be here, even though I assume this is a busy time of year for you. So tell me a bit about the seasons with your business. Are there peak times? I would think sure. Easter, Christmas. What do you see in terms of your business?
This is a busy time, and we're coming out of right before Advent begins. Is a busy time, and that's the beginning of the liturgical year for the church. The first Sunday of Advent, there's items that the church needs, and now is more of a retail type time. We sell nativity sets, Christmas cards, sure. Those types of items, and mostly small nativity sets to retail people. But there was one time a fella came in, a successful businessman from Newport, and he bought a church-sized nativity for his home down in Newport. He had a young family. And it was like one of the strangest things. We down on Ocean Road, we bring this nativity set into his living room, and he surprised his kids on Christmas morning. Wow,
that's, hey, if you got the room for it, I guess, right? You guys also, I know you do a lot with palms. You supply a lot of the palms that people get on Palm Sunday, and you bring them up. Where do you get them from?
Yeah, that's almost like running a separate business, the palm business. We rent warehouse space out on Plainfield Pike. It was a former Brown's Dairy. We bring the palm up from Florida. We bring it up in bulk and refrigerated trucks, and we have people that go back to almost 30 years ago, families in the St. Michael's Parish. They handle it for us. They do all the preparation, they clean it up, package it, and get it ready to ship out for Palm Sunday.
One thing I've read you guys, part of this business you guys haven't gotten into is making ashes for Ash Wednesday. Why not?
Well, we don't quite make them anymore. When I was younger, when I was in high school, I spent a few days burning the old palm to make ashes. Now we buy it from the fellow that provides us with palm from Florida. He sends a bulk, and then my shipper weighs it out into the small amounts to distribute to the churches.
That must be a messy business to
Yes,
to burn down the ashes and everything. I'm curious, we just had a big recession, especially affected Rhode Island, but, people go to church often regardless of the economy. Would you consider your business recession-proof, or did you notice impacts from the weak economy of the last few years?
I wouldn't say we were recession-proof, but the bigger ticket items that churches would buy, they cut back on that. They didn't buy a statue or a tapestry or new candlesticks. What we found they were buying is the items that they need to say Mass. Candles, altar breads, altar wine, the stationery that they need. And we grew that part of our business when we moved to Cranston.
So even churches go to essentials when the economy is rough. Yeah,
they do.
And Tim White and I on Newsmakers on our sister show this weekend, we were talking to a PC professor about Pope Francis and all the attention he's getting. And I know one of the items you sell, or sets of items, is photos and mementos and other things related to the Pope. With all the attention Pope Francis is getting, have you seen much demand for items related to him?
Yes. Yes, Pope Francis has really been a breath of fresh air for the church. The pastors and the people, even the convents where the nuns are, they all want to have a Vatican photograph of Pope Francis, and that was really what the framed pictures of Pope Francis. They come over from Rome, and they're framed up here in the United States, and there's quite a demand, and his writings. People are really interested in what he has to say and his books that have come out.
And reading it themselves. I know also you have a liturgical consulting service as part of Tallies. What's that?
Right. If the church is ready to renovate the space, say a new pastor comes in, he's been there for a year or two, and he says, I'd like to make some changes here, and we'll go in and make recommendations, and there's people that I can call on, from architects to builders, that we can come in and help them with moving things around if they want to change the way that the sanctuary is laid out.
All right, so we're pretty much out of time, PJ, but if someone needs something for Christmas, where can they find Tallies Church Supplies?
We are at 1150 Pontiac Avenue in Cranston, right off of Route 37, very easy to find.
And they can also find you online, Google you guys, and we'll put the link on the Executive Suite page.
Tallies.com.
Tallies.com. All right, that's all the time we have. I hope you'll all be sure to tune in next week when we'll have a special New Year's Week edition. We're going to be talking to 3 charities doing good work in Rhode Island: the Providence After School Alliance, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Ronald McDonald House. If you missed any of this show, or if you want to catch up on any other episodes, you can get all of those on WPRI.com. I hope you and your family have a safe and happy holiday and a very Merry Christmas. And we'll see you next week here on Executive Suite.